Statistically speaking, 90% of deaf children in Austria have hearing parents, and nowadays 90% of all deaf children have cochlear implants. Often the assumption is that a deaf child can become a hearing child through the use of CI. The focus in education is often placed solely on learning the spoken language. In the video, our interviewees explain that communication in the family may still be difficult despite CI. They tell of their own personal experience and ways in which their family deals with the challenges of communication. So at family gatherings, my family communicated in spoken language. I didn't know any different, and I knew nothing about sign language. I'm the only deaf person in my family. My parents and everyone else is hearing. How do we get to know each other? At 11 years of age, I got CI. Despite CI, communication and interaction was very hard for me. It was not possible for me to fully understand the spoken word.
When she was 5 years old and we had tried hearing aids, we asked a therapist to come to our house. She tried loud and strong sounds, drum rolls and cymbals and all sorts of things to do something. Back then, of course, we did not have much, so we used basic signs. We used sign language back then.
My parents have never tried to teach me sign language. They said that I should live in the hearing world. If you want to get anywhere, you have to be part of this world. So my parents raised me as a hearing person.
Well, in her case, she sees herself as a hearing person, because she grew up in a hearing environment. In other words, my parents are hearing. She really grew up with that, and now she is also in a hearing environment. So she sees herself as a hearing person.
When talking in the group, I was unable to understand all the content. I can get involved in one-to-one conversations with hearing people. It's a bit like text with gaps for single words. Communication was not barrier-free. It's always been difficult. I remember when I was little, I often asked, "What did you say?" My mother often replied, "Leave it," or "later." Sometimes that made me impulsive. In the past, my husband and children had to pat me on the back to tell me something. Now they call me from the distance and call me when they need me. Mum is already listening. "Mum, come and help me," and I can respond immediately. My mother always felt that I was missing out. An ordinary conversation with her was not possible. Too late, unfortunately. All I know is that my grandmother and I talked in loud voices. I understood her and it was not a problem. But I also think of other situations. I had an aunt who I understood badly. She whispered, and I asked my mother what she said. "Just let her talk, she mutters," she said. I accepted that. It wasn't a problem for me.
At family parties, I don't understand everything. When lots of hearing people talk at once, I can't understand.
For me, a Christmas party means that the family sees each other and gets together again. Inwardly, I'm already a bit tense because I am the only deaf person and my family cannot use sign language. They interact in spoken language, and I often had to endure boring situations. It's very difficult to get into the conversation. I feel very comfortable with my deaf friends because I can use my own language. I understand everything. Paying attention to spoken language conversations is exhausting for me. For the future, I wish that a sign language interpreter could accompany me to big family celebrations. This would make life much easier for me to talk and interact with others. Yes, there certainly are barriers to communication at celebrations.